Fellas, as we know, Conor McGregor is going to be taking on Michael Chandler at UFC 303. It was announced a few weeks ago that that's going to be the main event, the return of the Mac. And in the past few days, and I guess the past week, there's been a lot of confirmed fights for this card and a lot of rumoured fights as well. And if these fights go through, UFC 303 has potential to be one of the biggest pay-per-views in UFC history. I mean, there's some massive fights in here that can honestly make or break the card. And like I said, if these go through, this is going to be a huge pay-per-view and the build-up is going to be insane. Starting off with the co-main event. Apparently, Colby Covington versus Ian Garry's in the works for this card, which is a massive co-main event. I mean, Ian Garry did a video saying that apparently he's received the contract.
All we need is Colby to sign the fucking contract and say yes.
And he's just waiting on Covington to sign. And if I'm Colby Covington, I would sign that contract. You've been gifted a co-main event slot against undefeated Ian Garry, a massive rivalry on a McGregor pay-per-view after you've just been dominated by Leon Edwards. This is practically a blessed and a gifted matchup for Colby Covington. He would be dumb to not take this fight. Imagine if he was able to actually beat Ian Garry as well. It's a massive fight. And imagine the build-up between them two. I mean, first of all, I was excited for the UFC 296 press conference just because we got to see Colby Covington and Ian Garry in the same room. But now that they're actually going to be fighting each other as the co-main event for a card, and the McGregor pay-per-view as well, I'm so excited for the build-up. I mean, just imagine the press conference. You've got Conor McGregor, Ian Garry, Colby Covington, all at one press conference. It would be absolutely mayhem. The press conference has potential to be one of the best press conferences in UFC history. The trash talk, Colby Covington going personal as he has been going. And I honestly don't know who the crowd are going to favour with, because I feel like Ian Garry and Colby Covington are two of the most hated fighters in the UFC. To see them fighting each other, it's a bit of an odd matchup. But yeah, it's kind of the whole narrative of Ireland versus America as well. You've got Conor McGregor and Ian Garry, who are two Irish fighters repping Ireland. And you've got two big patriots in Michael Chandler and Colby Covington repping America. So it's kind of America versus Ireland on this card, which is a big narrative that you can push. But yeah, the fights would be great. I mean, firstly, yeah, I mean, if Ian Garry wins this fight, it's practically a #1 contender fight. You've just fought the guy who just fought for the belt, one of the best welterweights, who at the time was one of the best welterweights in Colby Covington. And I guess that he could get pushed to fight Leon Edwards if he beats Covington. And if Covington can beat Ian Garry, he's probably only, let's be honest, he's probably only one fight away from a title shot from there. So big co-main event. We also got announced that Jamahal Hill's going to be taking on Khalil Roundtree. Quick turnaround for Jamahal Hill. He's just been knocked out by Alex Pereira at UFC 300. So for 6 days later after that knockout, to be confirmed fighting Khalil Roundtree, that's a bit of a quick turnaround. I'm not sure that's the smartest decision from Jamahal Hill, but I would say that I would favour Jamahal Hill to win this matchup. I think he's a much more superior striker to Khalil Roundtree, and I think Jamahal Hill's just a overall better fighter. I think he's more dangerous than Roundtree as well, and I just don't think the top level is made for Khalil Roundtree. But with that being said, Jamahal Hill has just been knocked out, and Khalil Roundtree definitely has the capability to knock Jamahal Hill out, so there's the danger factor of that there. I was expecting to see Hill versus Jan Blachowicz or Yuri Prochazka, but like I said, I think those are two extremely dangerous fighters, especially if he's expecting to come back for UFC 303. So I'm not too against that matchup. It's going to be interesting to see how Jamahal Hill does on this turnaround and potentially gets put into a #1 contender fight if he beats Roundtree. A fight that's been rumoured for this card is Renato Moicano versus Beneil Dariush. This is a great fight. I mean, it's pretty much the obvious pick to make next in the lightweight division after Renato Moicano's just beaten Jalin Turner. I guess it's I want to say a cushioned matchup for Beneil Dariush. I mean, he's just been knocked out by Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. It's a step down in competition, and no disrespect to Renato Moicano, but I just can't see him knocking out Beneil Dariush. Dariush is still a really technical striker, and overall just a technical fighter. He's super well-rounded, and I just don't see Moicano knocking him out. But Moicano definitely has the capability to win. He's coming off two impressive wins over Drew Dober and Jalin Turner, especially the Jalin Turner win. And he's definitely got the capability to beat a guy who's coming off two first-round knockouts, not in his favour. But with that being said, Beneil Dariush, it wasn't that long ago where he went out there and absolutely demolished Gamrot, who's now a top lightweight. So it's a 50-50 fight, and if Renato Moicano can win this, it pushes his stardom astronomically. I mean, he's already a big star in the lightweight division, so if he can fight on a McGregor card, have an insane post-fight interview by beating Beneil Dariush, that's a big fight for Renato Moicano. And overall, I'm a fan of this match. Great matchmaking by the UFC. Dangerous for both of them, though. We also got a few prelim fight announcements. We've got Cub Swanson versus Andre Philly. That's going to be a great fight. Should be a banger. It's almost a guaranteed knockout in favour of either of them. And for the main card opener, we got Joe Pyfer versus Andre Barriou. Looks like the UFC is still trying to get Joe Pyfer's name out there, even after he's lost to Jack Hermanson. So there's some interesting fights in this card. We also got UFC 304 confirmed in Manchester. It's going to be Saturday, 27th of July. I think the UFC weren't supposed to leak it this soon because it seems like it's been deleted, but yeah, we all knew UFC 304 was going to be in Manchester. Now, we also got the news the other day that Cyril Gane's apparently shooting a movie and he's not going to be able to fight Tom Aspinall. I don't know how much I believe that. Seems like he's kind of just ducking Aspinall a little bit, but this pretty much confirms that Tom Aspinall is going to be facing Curtis Blades. Unless they go wild and do like Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira, it seems like Blades versus Aspinall is going to be the next fight for the heavyweight title. The real heavyweight title, by the way, not the clown title between Jones and Stipe. Leon versus Bilal, almost confirmed to be on this card as well. I mean, it's an obvious co-main event slot. We don't want that as a main event, so let's just stick it as the co-main event on the Aspinall card. Now, Paddy Pimblett, again, another big name that's probably going to be the featured fight for this card, or maybe it's MVP, I don't know. But Paddy Pimblett, assuming that Renato Moicano is going to be fighting at UFC 303, that leaves Pimblett with only few opponents now. And I feel like Paddy Pimblett's in this stage where there's no more easy fights to take. There's a lot of dangerous fights now for Pimblett, and I don't think there's any easy fights anymore. The first fight is Bobby Green. Bobby Green called out Pimblett. Pimblett seems to be up for that matchup. It's a huge build-up between the two of them. It's a dangerous fight for Pimblett, though. Bobby Green's got great takedown defense, and his striking's amazing. The only way I see Pimblett winning that fight is if he catches him in a submission, which is not easy to do against Bobby Green, or if Paddy Pimblett, being the absolutely huge guy he is in the lightweight division, catches Bobby Green with a big shot, which, again, Bobby Green's defensively sound. I don't know if that happens, but that's a fight that could happen. Maybe Drew Dober as well. Drew Dober's like that fight to get Pimblett into the rankings. He's coming off a loss to Renato Moicano. Another fairly winnable fight for Pimblett, but not an easy fight. Maybe they're going to go wild and do Grant Dawson, or maybe they're going to get, maybe Paddy Pimblett's going to get some balls, and he's going to fight a guy like Rafael dos Anjos, who in my opinion would destroy Paddy Pimblett. But maybe that's the fight option to take, but I think there's only 3 or 4 matchups that Paddy Pimblett can realistically take from now. Other fighters that could be on the UFC Manchester card, they're probably going to have Arnold Allen on the card, hopefully against Josh Emmett, because that would be, man, that would be amazing. Maybe Mohamed Makayev, although the flyweight division seems to be struggling for matchups with Makayev because all the fighters are either booked or injured, or they just can't fight for some reason. So there's not really much matchups for Makayev, but hopefully we can stick him on a card, or on the card. Lerone Murphy's not going to be on the card because he's fighting Edson Barboza, but yeah, UFC 304 confirmed in Manchester, UFC 27th of July. But yeah, overall, UFC 303 will go back to 303, has potential to be one of the biggest pay-per-views of all time. I was expecting it to be a bit of a trash card, to be honest. After the McGregor versus Chandler got announced, I thought, the UFC, they're already going to get the pay-per-views from Conor McGregor. They don't need to stack the card anymore. It's probably going to be a terrible card. But it seems like if this card falls through, this is a massive, massive card. I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied with the card, especially for the fact that McGregor's main eventing it. So yeah, UFC 303, super satisfied with the card. Hopefully it goes through. And UFC 304 confirmed in Manchester as well as a big card. But yeah, let me know what you think about this hypothetical. Well, it's not really hypothetical. A lot of the fights are announced, but let me know what you think about this potential UFC 303 card. Are you a fan of it? Are you not? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.